7:15. Okay. Uh, Time out. So we had a doubt about Jupyter's default browser. Uh, a guy texted me about it that whenever we type Windows R CMD Jupyter notebook. So like once it opens in my Opera browser, right? So I'm not giving it any different instructions to open any other browser or something. But my PC obviously has different browsers. We have Edge here, we have other browsers too. So he wanted to know if we can actually change that because uh, there's no option of doing that in this Jupyter console or in the console there itself. So let's quit this. Let's see what we can do about this. Uh, we quit this here. So I found a discussion kind of thing. They said that if you can actually access this file, Jupyter Notebook generate config. So you have to copy this, run cmd, paste this in cmd, press enter, overwrite. Yes, please overwrite it. So because I have already done it, just to see if it is working, it is showing the override, but because you are doing it the first time, it will show you the direct link. So this is the link to your file from C to PY. So you can actually just uh, copy from C to this Jupyter, Control C. Then you can go to your file manager, and here in the URL you have to paste it. Okay, looking for. Okay, no. Think we should copy the whole thing. Let's see. Okay, so here it is. The file is opening in code. So here they said you have to find a, actual link of where it is getting the browser from. So here they have provided us with a thing like import, open it using an editor, change C notepad browser. So let's see if this thing actually exists. Okay, it exists here. So here you can actually give the link of the browser you want to. So let's see if it works. So right now you have seen that it just opened in Opera. So I want it to open in Edge, let's say. So import web browser web.register to. Okay, so we have to actually paste this whole thing instead of this. Okay, let's go to VS Code. Let's try. Okay, no. Okay. There is some shortcut I don't know about copy paste in this VS Code. Let's copy it again. Copy and paste it directly here. Right. So here, let's say we have Edge. So they have given us that we have to uh, copy the URL of that browser application. So let's see for Edge what do we have in the browser. So Edge, Edge, click or write properties. Don't we have properties? Open file location. Okay. Microsoft Edge. So here it is the application. So let's No, no, this is a shortcut, right? There should be a yes, open file location. This is the actual application. So we got the URL from here. We'll paste it here. Yes, so we pasted it. And this is not Chrome. This is MS Edge is its name. So let's copy it. .exe. So did they actually say us to? Yes. No. What? Okay. Chrome.exe. So we'll have to write the name of the exe too. So let's slash. For people who have just joined, this was a doubt from a person from the last lecture, and yes, it looks a very complex thing. It's not a complex thing. We are just changing the default browser of Jupyter Notebook. So again, the name is the name is save this file. Let's minimize it. All the things. Let's see. Let's again try to open Jupyter and see if it opens in Edge. Yes. So that did happen for us. So Manit was asking this doubt of how do we change the thing. The okay. Satya Bhai was saying something. Hmm. Guys who are doubts. Satya Bhai was timed out by. Okay. So any other doubts? Let me see. I'm having trouble with Django. Okay, bro. For Django, you have to actually DM me because these guys are just at the start. Like they are just learning how to use IDs right now. If I say them that you wanna see Django, then they'll go crazy. They'll go nuts. Thanks, Manit. Anyway, so let's start with today's topic. Uh, okay, so we have changed the. So it took this many things to change the configuration of Jupyter Notebook. Let's close this. Let's close this. Okay. Bye bye. Edge. Okay. So today's thing was again we are gonna use Jupyter anyway. Uh, CMD JUPYTERNOTEBO. Okay, yes. So my files of Jupyter are actually in a very in a different folder, right? So if I open Jupyter here, uh, I won't get those files. Let's see. I'll show you how you can actually access the files. Okay, you can DM me the random Bugatti full name. So here you can see I have these two files, but I have a whole folder containing the actual files that I made to for preparation of this work. So I'll quit it. I'll close this file. We'll close this, and then let's go to the folder where I actually saved the files. So if you actually have files in a different directory, if you download it, if I send it to you and if you download it, so it will come here, right? If it comes here, you can just click on the URL and type CMD. Right now they are not in my CMD, so I'll go to this is the folder where all my files are stored, the Python files that I have made for you people. So we'll write CMD here. Okay, radio like noise is disturbing the screen. Uh, okay, I think it's my fan. Let's turn it off. Okay, so this is the folder where I have saved my files. So I wrote CMD in the URL, and from here I'll write Jupyter notebook. Now this is where the add to path thing comes handy. Like you can open Python from wherever you want. You can also open Jupyter from wherever you want. So now you can see we have all the files here, all the files that I actually made too. You can actually see. So today, what should we start with? Mm, syntax, loops. Let's start with data types, introduction. Okay, let's start with 1, 2, 3, 4, as it was made before. Yes, if anyone is having difficulty with the live, you can reload it, because I think I have set the bitrate and all the things to very high, so you can actually stream it in maybe 1080 or higher. Okay, 1080 you can stream it. So this was the features of Python. Okay, it has syntax and a blah 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 blah. Okay, history, Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, Nokia, Disney, all these people, all this company actually use Python. So yeah, let's just dynamic typing. Yes, dynamic typing is actually because, okay, I'll actually make you understand this term while we are coding properly. Compilation interpretation. Okay, Python is not an interpreted language, so this is not the part. Interactive mode. Okay, this is when you write Python and you get this whole thing. That is what they call interactive mode. Tools. Yes. Okay, these are the old tools. I'll update it for you and send you the new file. Notepad++. Yes. IPython, PyCluster, all these things. So here is the main part. This thing. When you start Python, it is just like uh, you can you'll be just writing loops and a little code like printing even numbers, printing odd numbers, and all those things. So as and how you grow in your field, you will start using different things. So supposingly I am a web developer and I am learning Python, I can use, okay, I found some odd thing. Yes, so here when you actually want to go in web, and for web development there are different things. Django is my personal favorite. I use Django, TurboGear, Vogue, Web2, Py, all these libraries are available, and you can actually go ahead in development, web development too, when you're using Python. Graphical interface, PyGTK, PyQt. PyQt is the Qt was a tool which was built in C, C++, and then they shifted it to Python. And if I remember, Symbian phones, when Nokia rejected Android phones, it had already had a OS that was newly launched. It was called Symbian. So that whole system was working on PyQt, sorry, the Qt framework, and the Qt framework, and now we have PyQt. So you can actually build a whole OS too if you want to, but yes, for simple things, PyQt must work for you. There is Tinker too. They have not added Tinker here. Uh, Obviously, it is Python 2. Tinker also Python 3, I think. Specific scientific processing. NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib. Plotly, there are many such libraries. Do you have experience in 2EP? No, bro. I haven't used 2EP yet. But if you want, I'll try it for you. The random Bugatti. So yes, 2D modeling, Matplot, 3D Visual Python, OpenGL. OpenGL is my personal favorite. We use this in our Smart India Hackathon project. Object relational mapping, SQL Alchemy, and SQL Object. There was also this thing called SQLite. If you have heard of it, SQLite is the fastest database you can ever have, because wherever your code is stored, like all these notebooks were stored in a certain folder. If I have to suppose I open this notebook from a different folder, I can do that. I can upload them. I can do anything, but uh, if I have this in the same directory as as the directory I am opening Jupyter from, that makes this a faster process, right? So it does not have to go from here to that directory, then open it, then come back here. So all these things actually make it faster. So all these uh, what you can say backend things we are learning like SQL, uh, MongoDB, all those things are actually server based. SQLite is, let me note that. So SQLite is the thing. SQLite is used in all the high-end security phones, all the high-end security operations. Apple uses SQLite if you don't know. I personally know because once I exploited one of its apps and took out my data. It was WhatsApp. I took my data from WhatsApp off my Apple phone to this Android device. So I know this SQLite is what they use. Okay, culture. Yes, Guido and Rossum has created a awesome structure. If you don't know, Guido and Rossum, Guido Van Rossum was this guy who actually created Python. Okay, import this, import that, tinker, tinker. Let's go to the next. So always do this, file, close and hold. Yes. Second part, syntax. Okay. So syntax, if you guys don't know what a syntax is what we can say a way of writing code. If you actually write code in C++, you start with hashtag include, then it's IO stream, or it's conio. So all these things, conio.h, yes, I remember. So conio.h, then iostream.h, then ftdio.h. All those things were rules, right? So you actually start with this, you end with this. When you want to print something, you write C out, and then do this. When you wanna get something in, you write C in and get in. So all these things, also in this is C++. In C we had printf and scanf, right? If you guys are in college, you should know all these things, or you are not really studying even a bit. So in Python, we have some rules like this hashtag mark. When you put a hashtag before anything, it is a comment. It is not a code. So if I want to write something like a code line that shows the result of 7 times 3. So what comments are actually is when I am writing this code, right? Print 7 star 3, and this is again Python 2. So they have written it without the brackets. So we'll convert it to Python 3. And also, as I said, cell all output clear. Do this every time you open a Jupyter, or you will start from the point where you have actually when the last person who sent it to you actually ended the whole process or the kernel. So on that part, uh, syntax. Okay. Hashtag. If you put hashtag anywhere, so this is Python to say that we put this. This is a technical terminology that this is Python environment. Python environment, bin user whatever. And this line tells the person what this code does. So before every line, you add a comment. You add a comment not for yourself, for the other people. Like when you are working in a industry or a company, it's not just you who sees your code or edits your code. There can be a team, there can be multiple people, there can be multiple teams if there is a big software. So you have to always add comments, even if it is the lamest thing like 7 star 3. So 7 multiplied by 3. So you have to always add them. So let's run this, shift enter 21, right? So let's go to so here we have a line broken by backslash. Yes, so if you have a long line and you actually want to end it, like you can end the line through backslash. So it actually starts reading from the next line. This is a lame thing. It's not really, we don't really use it. Yes. a list broken by a comma. Yes. So if you actually want to divide two mathematical operations in a different line, like I want to do 7 into 3 here, and I want to do 5 slash 2 in the next line, but yes, it is a part of this calculation right itself. So I'll put a backslash. You won't really use it, but it's just for information. If you are actually in a interview and they ask this little thing, always they'll ask these little things. What does backslash do? What does front slash do? Front slash divides, back slash unites. Yes. So a list is broken by comma. Yes. So B is equal to A, B, C, D, E. So we started A, B, C. We put a comma here and then we started in the next line. That's fine with the list. We do not have to put a backslash here, right? Once we have entered an element here, you can actually continue from the next line. So this is a list. A list is a collection of values. These values can be, if A is a string, B is a string, but you can actually enter anything. You want to enter a number here, you can enter a number here. Uh, you want to enter something like 1.222, whatever, you can enter it here. Also a function call. So a function call is actually when you make this function range and you call it with two parameters. The people who have already coded would know this, but if you don't know it, don't worry, we are going to cover it in the coming lecture for coming time. So you can actually, wherever you think there is a comma, you can actually continue from the next line. That's what it says. So this operation range actually takes in two things, starting and ending point. So let me show you in a different notebook. We'll open a new notebook for this, new Python 3. Let's name it how code kare. Okay, so we'll do all the experiments in this notebook. If you want, I'll send it to you. Yes, you can ask any of the doubts in the live chat, and also yes, C++ is better for higher speed application. Yes, it is. Python is slower than C++. Yes, I agree. Python is slower than C++ because it actually guesses things, right? Obviously, it is a smart language, but smart people analyze all the things, and that's where they take time. But if you see in a long-term basis, and whatever things analyze other things, they are faster in a long-term basis. If you want to print something, yes, C++ can be faster. If you want to do bigger projects like hacking something, I don't think C++ can actually leave Python behind. Exclamation points. What do you want to say, Mr. Nirmal Manna? I don't get you. So back to where we were. So yes, range. Let me show you what range does. So range. If you put any number in there, suppose 10. So this is range 0 to 10. So you have, if you want a number from 0 to 10, you write 10. Let's say what gets printed if I print range 10. Okay, so we'll have to put a star maybe. Yes. Always remember star is my favorite thing in Python. Whenever you enter this star, uh, it unpacks the things. Like range 10 is an object. When you put this star, it unpacks the thing. Whatever is inside that object, it comes out. So range 10 gives me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it takes numbers from 0 to n minus 1. This of 10. N minus 1 is 10 minus 1, 9. Now suppose you want numbers from, let's say, 5 to 15, right? So this is how you do that. This is how we people actually get the ranges. We don't actually type those things. In a for loop, when you are into this whole thing where in other languages you have to enter the value of where we have to start and end. We use range. We use range in Python. If you don't get anything, don't worry. We are gonna use it forward. This was for people who actually know things. But this is an introduction. So just थोड़े rules है जो आपको पता होने चाहिए. So the star operation. Let me talk you about the star operation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if you see this, the output is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's store it somewhere. Like x is equal to this list. So let's see if what is in x. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now, when you actually are in a coding contest or a coding event, you cannot print something like this with brackets, right? You have to print something like this 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the numbers. So, what you do is you do star x, anything that you want to unpack, anything that you want just the value from, you put a star behind it. Okay, can't use the star expression here. Why? Okay, okay, print star. Okay, when you actually unpack things, you'll have to use print in Jupyter. So 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, this is a neat thing, right? There are no commas in it. There is no bracket in it. Whatever in coding, whenever you give the output, you should actually put it very cleanly. Like if someone tells me I want numbers from 1 to 5, this should not be it. This should be it. He does not want the commas and the brackets, right? Clean coding. Whenever you code, clean code. So yes, print ABC. Yes, print everything A, B, and C. Cool. Let's skip that. Yeah. So if you want to see it, let's say A is equal to this range and X. So print A comma X. So A is not this one. Okay. Yes, A is. Let's put a star here. Can't you start it? Okay. Yeah. We'll have to store it in a list. Just yes. Here we are. Let's go. So here you can see we had A here printed. In A it was range from 5 to 15, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 was X. So you can print n number of values here. And if you see here, let me show you a bit of how you can actually print things well. Print, many people who use Python, they actually feel that print is just like if print you print something and there's not much in print. So let me show you what else comes in print, right? So let's do that again. Print A comma X, but this time we'll put a comma and we'll write FEP is equal to /n. Let's see what makes the change. So we had A, we had X, and here we wrote FEP is equal to /n. What does that mean, right? So FEP is separation. Okay, Mukta is saying star prints the whole list. No, Mukta, star just unpacks things. Like, let me tell you, uh, we had a star here, right? So star unpacks things as in this range is a box. Let's say range is, if I say box, it's an object. Range is a range object type. When I put star, this object is numero object and just the values inside it are given. Like here, we had a list, and when we actually added star to it, the list, it is numero object. It is just values in it. So it unpacks things. You should call it unpacking. It is not star prints the whole list. No, anything. This is not just about list. This is much more higher concept than it. It is called as the unpacking variable. This star. So here, let's come back to print. So print ax give me these two lists, as I said, a comma x. Print ax sep slash n. So slash n is a separation. When you don't put anything as sep, the normal sep is this. Nothing in between the two columns. So when you do this, you can see this and this have no difference because the default SCP value is empty. But when you put slash n here, between both the values, we had a slash n. If we had a third value, let's say we have a third value, z is equal to, let's say, range of we can say 40 comma 50. Okay, so let's print ax and z and add separation to it, SCP. You can see between all the values that you have given here, it adds a SCP. Now here comes the fun part. If I add star to it, right? Star, star, star. Here you go. Now this is Mukta, as you were saying, star. What does it do? Range gives list. No, range is an object type, bro. Yes. Yeah, me. Okay, yeah, me. Range is an object type. We'll come to that in the later part. Right now, what is happening, just digest it as it is, then digest it uh, in depth when we come to that. So now, first we had just three things, A, X and Z, they were lists, right? When we added separation in it, now we have actually unpacked the values. That means all the values of A, all the values of X, and all the values of Z are now unpacked. They are not a list now. They are just values, pure values. So all these values are now in this print statements, and then we added a separation slash n. So now the separation won't be in between the lists, right? It would be in between the elements of the list. So all the elements of the list you can see here. Now they are separated by slash n. Slash n is next line. If you people don't know, slash n is next line. Okay. Okay, so this was about the print part. We'll get deeper into it in the next session, maybe. Uh, let's continue. So here they were saying blocks in Python. Yes, you can have blocks in Python. So for iron list, okay, they have this list. So yes, you can actually have blocks in Python as well. This is a list. It has four values. You can take this one value, second value, third value, four value in a for loop. In normal languages, we can only take values for value for as in numbers in for loop, but in here we can take list. Let's skip this because people will get confused who are not coders. Uh, let's get to the third part. Okay, password or token. Uh-huh. We don't have a password. Open. Okay, I think I'll have to open Jupyter again. Kernel shut down. Okay, this kernel was down as I turned off the notebook. Okay, token is this thing. Let's see if this works. File open login. Yes, it works. Save it. So chapter 2, I think I did not close the chapter 2 properly. So this was why I was saying you should also always close things doing this file close alt. So moving to chapter 3. Oh, do we not have a chapter 3? Is it? We should have a chapter 3. I had it sorted. No? Learning Python 3 IPv1. I think we have all the notes in this one IPv1 sorted. Okay, yes, yes, I know this. Uh, so basic operations, what you can do in Python. This is where the tricky part starts. It looks a very like a very little thing, but it is a big thing. So what you can do in between things, you can add, you can subtract. This is for numbers, obviously. Multiplication, star, division. Star is exponential. What exponential is, let me show you. So 2 star 2 is multiplication 4. 2 star 2. Okay, this is the wrong thing to say because 2 into 2 and 2 raised to 2 both are 4. Let's put 3 in here. So 2 into 3 is 6, whereas 2 raised to 2 is still 4, right? Uh, let's put 2 raised to 3. 8, right? 2 into 2 is 8. 2 into 3 is 6. This is what the star thing does. Assignment operators. So equals to. Assignment is when you are giving a particular value to a component, right? When we were putting this x is equal to this, we assign the value of this list to x. Now x has the value of this list. So that thing is called assignment. So you can have equal to assignment and plus equal to. Add and reassign. Let me show you what this is. So if you have a is equal to suppose 50, right? A is 50. So a equals to a plus 10. This is what normally people do. And let's print a now. So here you can see it is 60. So what this does is we took a. What is the value of a? Always when you are using this assignment operator, right? When you're using this assignment operator equal to or whatever, always see at the right hand side first. So in the right hand side, a, so it will take the value of a is 50 plus 10. So okay sir, करता हूँ. So 50 plus 10 is now stored in a again. This is called as reassignment. Like we assigned it first and then reassignment. We assigned it the next time. We assigned it again, but in the same variable. The value of a plus 10 was again assigned to a. So this whole thing is called reassessment. So here you can see reassign, reassessment, or you can say increment for plus. So yes, as I said, a is equal to 50, a is equal to a plus 10. Print a. So print a 60. Now this same thing, we are coders, so we don't like to type the variable again. So what we can do is a plus equal to 10. Let's see what this does. Let's print a 70. So what this thing means, when you see such operators, when there are two operators in a assessment, you have to see for the plus one first. So as you see plus, you see the left part first, a. What is a right now? A is 60. Then you see the right part. So a plus right part 10 is 70 and is equal to, so a is again equal to whatever the total thing was. So a plus equal to 10 means the value of a before, that is 60, would be taken and it is plus here, so this value that is in the right hand side would be added and then equal to, so it will again be assigned to a. It is the same as this, but just रिश्ता वही सोच नहीं kind of a thing. uh, I think this is easy to digest. If you have any doubts you can comment it down. So also if you guys enjoy to like the stream please, and do subscribe to our channel. We are putting a lot of efforts in creating these things. We are just trying to add something to the society, add some value. So Meet Gandhi, same variable but two values. No, Meet Gandhi, it's not same variable but two values. It is same variable but new values. So if you remember this tagline, "Rishta wahi soch nahi," you will actually get it. So it is not those soch, but it is nahi soch. Let's get to the next part. So plus equal to, minus equal to, same thing. If I do minus equal to, let's do a minus equal to 10. Okay, print. Okay, okay. 60. So it was 70. So we took the value of a, that was 60. Sorry, it was 70. And then we deducted, because there was a minus here, we deducted 10. And then we stored again the value to a. So it is 60. Okay. uh, equal to used to assign absolute value. No, no, bro. Equal to is not absolute value. It is. It can be in some other language, but not here. That we are coming to. Let's complete this part. Multiply and reassign. So you can actually, when I send you this, you can actually read and do stuff. So add and reassign, subtract and reassign, multiply and reassign. So let's try this. So a star equal to 10. Print a 600. So it was 60 first. We multiplied it by 10, and then we are back to a. So we have 600 now. It has not. It does not have the old value. That is 60. If we print instead of print, okay. If we use a higher case print, will it give error? I don't think it should give error. But let's see. Print a. Okay, it has error. So you should always use the smaller print. As you can see, it is not showing this in green. The green words are actually pre-assigned. So yes, Amit Gandhi, you always use the lowercase letters. The best part about live is that we can actually solve the doubts there itself. That's why I actually wanted the live thing. We can record this and portray it, but it won't actually make sense. It will just say that we know something and we are just showing off. So equal to, some guy was saying that it is absolute assignment. No, it is not absolute assignment. This is a comparative operator. Let's say, let's remove this. Right. So here, okay. So equal to, what does 2 equal to find do? So if I say a is equal to 100, let's see what this prints. False. A is equal to 600. True. So these operators are called comparison operators. They compare the things. They just give you values true and false. Okay. So if you wanna check if the value of a is equal to 100 or if it is not, so you'll use a is equal to 100. If it comes false, that means it is not 100. If it comes true, it is 100. This is a comparison operator. Not equal to. Okay. So as you can see, let's change it. Okay, let's keep this the same way, and let's a not equal to 100. True. A not equal to 600. False. So obviously it is checking for if it is not equal to this value. The same thing, true or false. If it is equal to 100, false. If it is not equal to 100, true. So These little things make so much difference in this whole statement. You can actually see it here. Okay, anything in comments? X comma y equal to 2 comma 2. Yes, you can assign the values. Okay, if you want to assign two values, you are saying, right? So x, if I want to write x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 4, I can actually write, let's print x and y first. X comma y. So 2 and 4, right? Uh, if I want to assign x and y together, I can do this like this, 5 comma 6. Let's print them again. 5 6. So also you can see here, you can reuse the variables, you can reassign the values to the variables whenever you want in the coming code time. So yes, you can assign as many values you want in this kind of thing, this format, you can say syntax or format. So less than, obviously less than, uh, so 5 less than 6, true. 5 greater than 6, false. So this compares the two numbers uh, as in normal things. Less than or equal to. Yes, this is important. If I say 5 is greater than 5, that's false because 5 is not bigger than 5. It is equal to. So if we put 5 is greater than equal to 5. True. So these little things just give a bit of effort and try these things. I know they are very small and you will feel that अरे ये तो याद रहेगा, but don't you have to try these things. If you don't try these things, what will happen is when you actually want to produce those things, let this small parts, right, less than equal to, or you can say, like we were here, a is equal to a plus 10, a plus equal to 10. So if you don't practice it, what will happen is when you are going to apply it, then you'll forget small things. Do like the stream. Yes, please like the stream and subscribe to the channel. It will motivate us a lot. It's not him, Manish, it's us. We are just not, it's just not about me. So yes, true. Let's get to less than equal to greater. This part is covered. So yes, parenthesis. This is for grouping. This is for exponential, star, slash, multiplication, division, plus, minus, addition, subtraction. This is for numbers, okay? Equal to, not equal to. Okay, so these things are done. So let's see how we can actually do things in here. So these are the 7 numbers they have initialized. Number 1, number 2, number 3. So you can actually also put a comma, but just for the sake of understanding, they have done this. So we did this. Let's clear all the cells first. Clear. Okay. So shift enter. So we have assigned the numbers, like num1 को 10 दिया, num2 को -3, num3 को 7.41. So all these numbers are assigned now. So that they are showing addition, number 1 plus number 2, 7, number 2 minus number 3 into number 4 divided by number 5. Okay, so num1 plus num2, num1 is 10, num2 is -3, 10 minus 3, 7, num2 minus num3, num2 is -3, num3 is 7, but minus of minus is plus, -3 plus -3 minus 7.41, so minus 10.41. Number 3 into number 4, number 3 is 7.41, number 4 is minus 0.6, so I don't know what the multiplication is, but it is minus 4.446. So division, this is the division of number 4 and 5. Okay, you are dividing 0.6 by 7, so obviously you will get a term that is really small. Exponential, number 5 raised to number 6. I'm going fast because we actually put a lot of time in this, so let's not go further. So we'll actually close after we are done with example, because it's already 1 hour and I have promised people that it won't go upper than 1 hour. So 343. So num5 is 7. Raised by 3, you do the math. 343. Num 6 minus equal to 2. So we just decline 2 from the number and 1. What to do if we do not want answers in decimal for division? Okay, bro, let me show you. If you don't want the decimal part, right, Ashwin Singh, this guy actually uh, has a lot of enthusiasm. I saw it yesterday. So 8, let's say 8 divided by 9. So this is some decimal part, right? 0.88888. So what to do if you don't want this 8888, right? You just want this 0 part. That is what he is trying to say. What if you do not want the decimal part? So what you do is 8 slash slash 9. This is called double division, or you can say this is absolute division. Here you go. So this part is removed. Ashwin, is that fine with you? Please comment down. Learning Python 3. Okay. Back here. So num3 star equal to 5. So num3 is multiplied by 5 and then again stored in num3 and we printed it. Okay, Ashwin, I got the comment. For assigning the value of an expression to variable. Obviously, if you want to add, subtract, and do whatever, and you want to add it, you have to assign it. You can do it. So there is some multiplication that is none of use for now. Okay, so you can actually compare it to if you want to see agar ye number plus ye number is equal to ye number. So you can do it. Or if it's true, so num1 plus num2 is equal to num5. That's it. Num1 is 10, num2 is minus 3, and num5. Okay, so this is something with we have changed the values here. So yes, num1 plus num2 is equal to num5. So it is true for now. That means this plus this. Let's print this. Num1, num2, num3, num2, num5. Okay, I think we'll have to add this down. Yeah. Okay, num5 is 7. Therefore, true. Okay, let's not get into it. So num3 not equal to num4. True, it is not equal to num4. Num5 less than num6. False. Okay, this expression. Yes, this is the favorite part. If you want to see if some number is in range of some numbers, like you want to say some number is in between 1 to 5, some number is in between 1 to 10. So what you can do is you can you can put the greater than sign and you can add the limits here like 1 to 5 and then you can put the number in between. So it will give you true or false. Again, this part true. Okay, yes. Also, this is it can be greater than 5, right? This is from 1 to 5 and even greater number. So even 3 is true and even okay, that is false. No, there has to be something around 3. Okay, this is the range. So you can also add a range here like 5 in between 5 and 4. So here if you put 5, uh, 5 and 4. Okay, so 4 and 5 exactly in between them. So this would be true. So 3 plus 1 is equal to 3 and also 3 is between this. You can compare and do things at the same time. Okay, string comprehension. I think we'll get to string comprehension in the next lecture because we are already out of time. We are 10 minutes ahead. Obviously, we started 10 minutes behind. So we'll start with string comprehension the next time. And if you guys have any doubt, please let me know. We'll close this so that you don't feel that our lecture chalu hai. Okay, we'll close this too. And let's quit. Okay, so up for doubts. Okay, Ashwin Singh, I'll remember you. Anyone have any doubts? Please tell me. No doubt, Ashwin. Mukta is saying thanks. Thank you to Mukta. If you have any doubts, please tell me. Even in between the live, or you can say it right now. After, if you do not have any doubts, we'll close it. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Hmm. Anyone else? Any doubt? Anything? Okay, Anam is saying I don't understand about a plus equal to 10 gives 70. How? Okay, Anam, let's do this. And this little thing, because as I said, you will do little things in this and bigger things in that. जो pattern will do. So a is equal to 10. So Anam was saying that how does a equal to a plus, okay, a plus equal to 10 gives 70. So if a is 10, right? If I say a is equal to, or if I say let's print a plus 10, so it's 20, right? Still the value of a is 10. So now if I want to do this, if I want to put the value of a plus 10 in a, what I can do is a is equal to a plus 10, right? So as I said, when you have this sign in between, you go to the right hand side first and see a. What is a? A is 10 right now, okay? And 10 plus 10 is 20. So this 20 will be stored in a again. So let's see a. So a is 20. So Anam, as you were saying, a plus equal to 10. This thing is similar to this thing. If you see a now, it is 30. So a was 10, a plus 10 was 20, because a was 10, 10 plus 10, 20. A is 10 right now. A is equal to a plus 10. So now a is 20, because 10 plus 10 again in a. A plus equal to 10. So it was 20. Now we did plus equal to 10. So it takes a, adds 10, and again stores it to a. So it gives 30. I hope the doubt is solved, Anam. Okay, next. We can also print multiple strings with operands. Yes, we can print multiple things. We can print like n number of things in a print statement. As I did, I printed three full list, right? If you have seen that, or did you join in between? No, you were there, right? The random Bugatti. Good job, bro. Keep it up. Oh, thanks, Arshil. So yes, guys, if you actually liked the stream, put a like, add a subscribe.